Recently, the performance of open source large language models like llama2, Falcon, Mistral, etc. has improved a lot, and they seem to be catching up with ChatGPT. So, are you excited about these advancements and want to try these open source models on your computer for free? If the answer is yes, then stay tuned. In this video, I'm going to introduce you to an incredible command line tool named Ollama that lets you run any open source LLM on your local machine. Ollama has a huge repository of LLMs like llama2, Mistral, Vicuna, llava, and so on. So without further ado, let's get started. To use Ollama, you first need to download and install it. For that, you can go to Ollama website, ollama.com. And once you are there, there is an option to download Ollama. So simply click on it and then it will take you to the download page. So based on your selected system, so in my case, my operating system is Linux. So it asks me to execute this command. So this command simply downloads this script, installation scripts, and then execute it. And when this script is executed, it will install Ollama on my system. So when executing, it also checks for the presence of GPU on my computer. So if GPU is present, then it will install the necessary libraries related to GPU as well. And then the inference will run on a GPU. But if GPU is not present, then inference will run on CPU and it will be a bit slower. So if you are on other systems like Mac OS, then you need to follow the process for that. And for Windows, they have recently launched this preview. So it's in initial stage. Before that, there was no support for Windows, and they were recommending that you install Windows subsystem for Linux. So you install Linux on Windows and then you try Ollama over there. So in my case, I have already executed this command in my shell. So let me take you over there. And once the command is executed successfully, you can execute this command Ollama. And as you can see, once I execute this command, it's showing me the help page. So this confirms that Ollama is correctly installed and now we can use it. So let's go ahead and pull some models. To use any large language model on our local system, we first need to download it. For that, Ollama has provided us with command name pull. So we need to execute this command Ollama pull and then the name of the model. So in this case, I have downloaded llama2. So this will download the llama2 with 7 billion parameter, which is the smallest model. Alright, so the download has completed. Now it took less amount of time on my system, but it can take more amount of time on your system depending on your internet speed. So if you want to see what list of models are available on your system, so for that, the command name is Ollama list. So once I execute this command, you can see these are the list of models which are available on my system. So once we have downloaded the model, we can interact with it by executing command Ollama run and then the name of the model. So in this case, we will use llama2. So the model is running, so we can ask it question. So let's ask, do you know who is Bill Gates? And let's see his reply. Alright, so our model has completed generated response and it seems to be acceptable response. So let's go ahead and ask it a follow-up question about this response. So let me ask it to rephrase the first paragraph from previous response. And let's see how it's doing. Alright, so it seems that it has done a good job at rephrasing the first paragraph, even though it took the first sentence from the second paragraph as well, but overall it did a good job. So now that I have explained how you can interact with it, let's say that you want to give multi-line input to this prompt. So how can you do that? For that, you need to use double quotes 3 times at the start and end of your input prompt. So let's try one more example. So let me ask it to rephrase the previous paragraph again. Right, so now that I have copied the paragraph, in order to end this prompt, I need to put double quotes 3 times again. Let me execute it. Right, so it seems that it has done a good job at rephrasing our paragraph. So that's how you can provide multi-line input. So let's move on and try a few more models. Next, let's try another famous model named codellama, which is famous for generating code. Alright, so let's ask it to generate a code for a function which checks whether the number is prime or not. Right, so it has generated the function, and by default it generated function using SQL because we did not provided any programming language. Generally it defaults to Python, but this time it defaulted to SQL. So let's ask it to generate the same function, but this time using Python. Alright, so it has generated a function this time using Python programming language. So next, let's try a multi-modal model named llava, which accepts images as input as well. So I will simply run model first. Okay, so now that the model is available, let's ask it to explain one image which is present in my home path. So this is how the image looks, and let's see what kind of response our model is generating for this image. And yeah, it's describing the photograph properly, though it's missing some detail. There are 5 individuals instead of 4, but it has done overall and good job of describing this photograph. So that's how you can use multi-modal models. So if you want to know which models are available through Ollama, then you can visit Ollama website, ollama.com, and then you can click on this models. And over here they have a list of models listed, so you can explore individual models, and you can also check for the most popular models by selecting this particular drop down, and you can also see which newest models are updated. And once you know which model you want to use, then you can go ahead and click on the link of that model, and that will show you the important information about that particular model. So this is the llama2, and as it says that it has a different models ranging from 7 billion to 70 billion parameters. So in order to download a model with different parameters, you need to go over here in this tags. So over here they have listed a list of tags which you need to provide. So if you don't provide any tag, so you simply call Ollama run llama2, then it will download this particular model latest, and that model is model with 7 billion parameter, and it's a fine-tuned model for chat purpose. But let's say that you want a model that is used for text generation, then you can use this particular command. And you can also try different other models. So there is a 7 billion parameter, there is a 13 billion parameter models, and so on. So that's how you can download different models. And if you are looking for some model which is not available, then you can search for it as well to check whether that model is available or not. So that's how you can search for particular model. And do remember that you need at least 8 GB of RAM to run a model with 7 billion parameters, and you need at least 16 GB of RAM to run a model with 13 billion parameters, and 30 GB of RAM is required for 33 billion models. So if the model size is quite high with billions of parameters like 70 billion, then you will need a lot of RAM to run that particular model. So keep that in mind as well. Next, let's talk about how you can create a custom model based on your requirement. So how you can provide a system detail where you specify how you want a particular model to behave. So for that, Ollama provides us with the command name create, and this command will accept a model file name where you specify the system message that how you want particular model to behave. So it will take some default model and then add the system details or system message that you specify, and then we'll create a new model that will behave that way. So for that, we need to provide a model file. So I have already created a model file, example model file. So let me show you. It's a shakespeare.model file. So as you can see over here, I have specified instruction that the default base model is llama2, and you can also specify few parameters to the model. So as I have set temperature to 1, and as they say, higher temperature, which means a more creative model, and lower is more coherent model. And then next, I have provided a system message. So over here in 3 double quotes, I have specified that act as if you are William Shakespeare. So this model file will create a new model from llama2, and this will be the system message. So next time you ask it any question, then it will respond as if it is a William Shakespeare. So let me create a new model. For that, I will say Ollama create, and I will say Shakespeare. I will give it. So next is the name of the model, which I have given Shakespeare, and dash F, and then the name of the file. So this command will create a new model named Shakespeare, and then you can run that model by executing command Ollama run and then Shakespeare. So before that, let me check list of models. So as you can see, there is a model named Shakespeare over here. So let's ask this new model about Bill Gates, and let's see its response. Alright, so it seems that the response is generated as if it's Shakespeare, and it is telling us about Bill Gates as if Shakespeare has written this text. So that's how you can create your custom model using Ollama. Next, let's talk about the Ollama REST API. So Ollama let us access various models through REST API as well. So it has same API like that of a ChatGPT. So in order to access API, first of all, we need to keep Ollama running in the background. So how can we do that? So in order to run Ollama as a service, there is a command named serve that we need to execute this one. So let me execute it. And as you can see on my end, it gave error saying that this address is already in use, because at my end that service is already running. And because it's a Linux system, if you want to know the status of particular service, you can execute command name systemctl status and Ollama. And as you can see, because the service is running and over here the status is active. So that's how you can check the status whether the service is running or not. So first of all, you need to start the Ollama by executing this command Ollama serve, which will start the service. Other than this, you can go to the browser as well, and you can go to this URL 127.0.0.1 and this particular URL, and over here it will say Ollama is running. So this confirms that the Ollama service is up and running. So now we can hit the REST API and retrieve some data. So here is a sample way or sample command that you can execute to query Ollama REST API. So for that, you will need to install curl tool on your computer. So this API is to generate, so it's a text generate API, and you can give it over here the name of the model and whatever prompt. So let me copy this and let me go to shell and let me paste it and let me change the question and let's wait for the response. All right, so as you can see, the model is generating a response. So it's it's generating list of dictionary. So it's generating one token at a time and it's returning. So we can say that it's generating a response in a streaming manner. So we can access this API using Python module request as well. So let's go ahead and do that as well. So in order to access Ollama REST API using Python request module, I have started this Jupyter notebook. So first of all, I have imported request module, and next is I'm trying generate endpoint. So first of all, we will try a model generation endpoint. So for that, I am using a model named Phi, and again I am asking it question, do you know who is Bill Gates? So for that, you need to use request.post method, and then you need to give it API URL, which is localhost column 11,424, which is the port number, /API and /generate, which is for text generation, and data is this message. So let me execute this line of code. Alright, so response is generated. So let's check out the response which is available through this text attribute. So as you can see, the total response is available as a one single string, but we can see that there are various dictionaries which are available. So let's execute next line of code, and what this code does is that it splits this line by new line character. So it splits that text by new line character, and as you can see, each individual is a dictionary and response is their response attribute. So let's execute next line of code and retrieve the individual tokens. And yeah, as you can see, the complete response has individual tokens. So it's a list where the tokens are present. So let's join all the tokens to create a complete response. Yeah, so that's the response generated by the model. So by default, these APIs generate response in a streaming manner. So they will return a list of dictionaries separated by new line. Next, let's try a chat endpoint. So for that, the format of the message is like this. You need to specify model name, and in messages, you can specify list of messages like role will be user for your questions, and the response generated will be assistant. So let me execute this line of code. Again, we are making request dot post request. So in order to use chat endpoint, as you can see, we are using a URL API/chat. That is for text generation, we were using generate API. Right, so we have received our response. So let's check it. Yeah, so as you can see, again, there are list of dictionaries. So I have separated them by new line character. So let's pass it further and retrieve our complete message. Right, so let's join it. And yeah, that's the response generated by our model. So it has given a very long answer, giving overview about who Bill Gates is. So that's how you can use the REST API. Alright, so that's it for today's tutorial. In this tutorial, I explain you how you can run open source large language models on your computer using a famous command line tool named Ollama. If you have any questions or any doubt, then please feel free to let me know in the comment section, and see you next time.